My sister blamed me when her kids discovered the truth. My sister just told me I ruined her children's lives because I was giving her 4-year-old a bath while her teenagers discovered 10 years of their father's abuse. And now she's kicking me out of her house for it. Let me back up. I'm currently staying with my sister Amy. She's had several major surgeries recently and is basically immobile. Her husband Jack is working abroad and I can't get out of his contract until Christmas, so I flew in to help. She has 4 kids, 15-year-old fraternal twins, a boy and a girl, from her first marriage, plus a 4-year-old and a 5-year-old with Jack. My new job lets me work remotely and honestly, I was happy to help. Amy and I have always been close. The twins have been great about helping out too, but we all agreed their lives shouldn't be disrupted. School, friends, extracurriculars, everything should stay normal for them. What Amy never told them about was their father. Jake, her first husband, is one of the worst people I've ever known. Not violent, not physically dangerous, just relentlessly, exhaustingly cruel in ways that are hard to explain to people who haven't dealt with someone like him. He cheated on Amy multiple times. When she found out and filed for divorce when the twins were 6, he lost his mind. Not because he loved her, because she dared to leave him. For the next 10 years, he made her life absolute hell. He didn't want 50-50 custody, but he also didn't want to pay child support. He dragged her to family court over and over again for frivolous complaints. A judge finally told him to stop harassing her, but by then there were years of documented abuse. He denied the twins were even his kids, demanded DNA testing. When the results proved he was their father, he just moved on to the next attack. He made vicious comments about both kids' appearances. Told Amy their noses were ugly, that they got their looks from our inferior side of the family. He called social services on her claiming neglect. The case was closed almost immediately. Amy is an incredible mother, but the stress of the investigation was devastating. When Amy started dating Jack, Jake's harassment got worse. He sent abusive texts constantly, threatened to take the kids, made her life miserable in every way he could think of. Jack, being a genuinely good person, took over all communication with Jake. Everything went through a parenting app. All pickups and drop-offs went through Jack. For the last 5 years, things have been relatively peaceful, though Jake still sends vile messages whenever he gets the chance. Amy saved everything. Every text, every email, every court document. She had to for legal protection. But she never told the twins any of it. Not about the cheating. Not about the harassment. Not about him denying they were his children or calling them ugly or reporting her to social services. She never spoke badly about their father. Never complained when he missed child support payments. Never explained why they were always back in court. She wanted them to have a relationship with him without the burden of knowing what he'd done. I understood why. I didn't necessarily agree, but I understood. 3 nights ago, everything changed. Amy had been asleep for hours. The painkillers they have her on are strong and she's been really out of it. The twins, I'll call them Maya and Ben, decided to prank her with some funny videos. They wanted to use her phone to record her reaction. Amy has always been careful with her phone. Always. But she was so heavily medicated, she'd left it on the nightstand next to her bed. The twins had cracked her passcode ages ago. They'd never told her. And they'd never used it for anything except the occasional harmless prank. But when Maya picked up the phone, she saw a notification from Jake. I don't know exactly what it said, but it was enough to make her open the message thread. And then they started reading years of messages. Abuse, threats, insults. Everything their mother had endured while keeping a smile on her face for them. I didn't know any of this was happening. I was upstairs giving the 4-year-old a bath. He'd picked up some virus at preschool and was miserable. The bath took forever because he kept crying. Then I had to read him 3 stories before he'd settle down. I ended up falling asleep next to him on his little toddler bed. I was gone for almost 2 hours. When I came downstairs, both twins were sitting on the couch, sobbing hysterically. Maya's face was blotchy and red. Ben had his head in his hands. The laptop was open on the coffee table in front of them. What happened? I asked, my heart immediately racing. Maya looked up at me with these devastated eyes. Did you know? She whispered. Know what?
About Dad.
About what he said about us. My stomach dropped. What are you talking about? Ben turned the laptop toward me. It was open to Amy's email. Years and years of saved messages from Jake. I scanned a few lines and felt sick. How did you? We were pranking Mom, Maya said, her voice breaking. We just wanted to use her phone. But then we saw a message from Dad, and we opened it. And then we found everything else. The laptop wasn't password protected. It was old, nearly obsolete. The kids all had brand new devices, so they'd never touched it before. But once they'd found the messages on Amy's phone, they'd gone looking for more. And they'd found everything. The emails about the DNA testing. The messages where Jake said they were ugly, that their features were defective. The court documents from when he'd reported Amy for neglect. The texts where he called her horrible names and threatened to destroy her. 10 years of documentation, all laid out in chronological order. Maya was shaking. He said we weren't his kids. He said our noses were ugly. He said. She couldn't finish the sentence. Ben looked at me with this expression I'll never forget.
Pure betrayal.
Why didn't anyone tell us? He asked quietly. Why did we have to find out like this? Before I could answer, Amy's voice came from upstairs. What's going on down there? She must have heard Maya crying. I helped her down the stairs. She took one look at the twins' faces, saw the laptop open on the table, and immediately understood. Oh God, she whispered. Oh God, no. You knew, Ben said.
His voice was flat.
You knew everything he said about us, and you never told us. I was protecting you. Protecting us? Maya's voice rose. He called us ugly. He said we weren't his kids. He tried to take us away from you. And you just let us keep seeing him like everything was fine. I didn't want you to carry that burden. That burden? Ben stood up. We've been seeing him every other weekend for our entire lives. We thought he was just distant. A little cold. We thought maybe we weren't interesting enough for him. And the whole time he was telling you we were ugly and defective and not even his. Amy was crying now. I wanted you to have a father. We don't want him, Maya said. We never want to see him again. That's when Jake started calling. The twins had already texted him. Told him they'd found everything. Told him they never wanted to speak to him again. His response was exactly what you'd expect from Jake. Threats. Accusations. Demands. Amy's phone rang constantly. Text after text came through. Maya and Ben refused to answer. They blocked his number on their own phones. Amy retreated to her room, and I helped the twins calm down enough to go to bed. They cried themselves to sleep. The next morning, Amy told me this was all my fault. You were supposed to be watching them, she said. I was giving your 4-year-old a bath, I replied.
He was sick.
What was I supposed to do? Leave him screaming in the tub? You should have been more vigilant. You should have known they might get into my things. Amy, they're 15. Almost 16. I can't watch them like toddlers. And even if I'd been in the room, how was I supposed to know your laptop wasn't password protected? You ruined their relationship with their father. They ruined their relationship with their father, I said carefully, by finding out the truth about what he's really like. They weren't supposed to know. Maybe they should have known. Maybe if you'd told them years ago in an age-appropriate way, this wouldn't have been such a shock. She didn't speak to me for the rest of the day. I called Jack. Explained what happened. He was horrified. I'm leaving early, he said immediately. I'll be home by the end of the week. Amy's really upset with me, I said quietly. She's upset because she's been protecting Jake's image for 15 years and it finally caught up with her, Jack replied. This isn't your fault. But Amy continued to blame me. Jake has been threatening to take her to court for parental alienation. It's nonsense. Courts here won't force 15-year-olds to visit a non-custodial parent. They definitely won't remove kids from their mother's care when the father doesn't even have a bedroom for them. But Amy is panicking anyway. And she's taking it out on me. Once Jack is back, you need to leave, she told me yesterday. I need space from you. A lot of space. Amy, I didn't do anything wrong. You were supposed to be watching them. I was watching her other 2 children. The ones who actually need supervision. You ruined everything. I wanted to scream. I wanted to tell her that she'd ruined things herself by lying to her kids for a decade. By making them think their father was just distant instead of abusive. By protecting a man who didn't deserve protection. But she's my sister. And she's in pain. And she's scared. So I called Jack again. He's flying back tomorrow night. He asked me to stay until then, with Amy immobile and 4 kids in the house, including 2 devastated teenagers. It's too much for one person to handle alone. But then I'm supposed to leave. Drive 4 hours to our brother's place and give Amy the space she needs. Jack is furious with her. He's told her so over the phone, which she also blames me for somehow. You turned my husband against me, she said this morning. I told him the truth, I replied. That's not the same thing. I've been thinking about leaving before Jack gets back. Just packing up and driving out an hour before his flight lands, so I don't have to deal with any awkward conversations with Amy. The house will be fine for an hour. The twins are responsible. Amy is immobile, but not helpless. But I keep thinking about Maya and Ben. They've barely spoken since that night. They stay in their rooms most of the time. When they do come downstairs, they look at me like I'm the one stable thing in their world right now. Yesterday, Ben asked me if I'd known about their father. Some of it, I admitted. Not all the details. But I knew he was cruel to your mom. Why didn't you tell us? It wasn't my place. Your mom made a choice about what to share with you. I disagreed with that choice, but it wasn't mine to make. Do you think we're ugly? Maya asked suddenly. My heart broke. God, no. Maya, you're beautiful. You both are. You look like your mom, and your mom is gorgeous. And you look like our brother, who is far from ugly. Your father is a deeply unhappy man who tried to hurt your mother by saying cruel things about you. None of it was true. She started crying again. I want to tell them why I'm leaving. I want them to know I'm not abandoning them. That I'm being forced out, not choosing to go. But Amy says if I do that, the twins will blame themselves. That I'll only hurt them more. I don't think that's true. I think the twins are smart enough to understand that their mother is lashing out because she's scared and in pain. But I also think Amy is terrified they'll blame her. For not telling them the truth sooner. For not protecting them from finding out this way. For choosing to protect their father's reputation instead of preparing them for who he really was. This morning, I asked Jack what he thought I should do. Tell them the truth, he said immediately. They deserve to know why you're leaving. And they need to know you're still there for them. Amy will be furious. Amy is already furious. And she's wrong. You didn't ruin anything. Jake did, years ago. And Amy made choices that led to this moment. That's not on you. I'm sitting in the guest room now, trying to decide. In a few hours, I'll pack my things. I'll load up my car. I'll either wait for Jack to arrive and have an awkward conversation with my sister, or I'll leave early and avoid the whole thing. But before I go, I need to talk to Maya and Ben. They're downstairs right now, helping their younger brothers with a puzzle. They've been so good through all of this. So responsible and mature. They deserve to know the truth. I went downstairs about an hour ago. Found the twins in the playroom with their little brothers. Hey, I said quietly. Can I talk to you two for a minute? They followed me to the kitchen. We sat at the table, the same table where we'd eaten breakfast every morning for the past 3 weeks. I need to tell you something, I started. When your stepdad gets home tomorrow, I'm leaving. Maya's face fell.
What?
Why? Your mom is really upset about what happened. She thinks I should have been watching you more carefully that night. She thinks if I'd been paying attention, you wouldn't have found those messages. That's not fair, Ben said immediately. You were taking care of our brother. He was sick. I know. But your mom is dealing with a lot right now. The surgeries, the pain, and now this situation with your dad. She needs space from me. This isn't your fault, Maya said, her voice breaking. None of this is your fault. I know that. And I need you to know something else. I'm not leaving because I want to. I'm not abandoning you. Your mom asked me to go, and I'm respecting that. But I'm always here for you. Always. If you need to talk, if you need anything, you can call me. Text me. Anytime. Ben was staring at the table. Is she mad at us too?
No, honey.
She's not mad at you. She's scared. She spent 10 years protecting you from the truth about your dad, and now that truth came out in the worst possible way. She feels like she failed you. She didn't fail us, Maya said. Dad failed us. I know. And eventually, she'll understand that too. But right now, she's in survival mode. She's in pain. She's scared about your dad's threats, and she's looking for someone to blame. That someone is me. That's not fair, Ben repeated. No, it's not. But life isn't always fair. What matters is that you two know you did nothing wrong. You didn't snoop. You didn't break into anything you weren't supposed to access. You were pranking your mom with her phone, which you'd done a dozen times before. And you stumbled onto something she should have told you about years ago. Why didn't she tell us? Maya asked. If Dad was saying all those things, why did she let us keep seeing him? I took a breath. Because she wanted you to have a father. Even a distant, cold father seemed better to her than no father at all. She thought she was protecting you from pain. She didn't realize she was protecting him instead. Do you think we're wrong for not wanting to see him anymore? Ben asked quietly. Absolutely not. You're almost 16. You're old enough to decide who you want in your life. And if your father has been cruel and abusive, you have every right to protect yourselves from that. He's threatening to take Mom to court, Maya said. He can try, but he won't win. You're too old for the court to force you to visit him. And his threats are empty. They always have been. We sat in silence for a moment. I'm going to miss you, Maya said finally. I'm going to miss you too. But I'm only 4 hours away. And when things settle down, when your mom has had time to process everything, maybe we can visit. Maybe you can come stay with me for a weekend. We'd like that, Ben said. I hugged them both. Held them while they cried a little more. When I went back upstairs, Amy was awake. Did you tell them you're leaving? She asked. Yes. Did you tell them it's my fault? I told them you asked me to leave because you need space. I didn't blame you, Amy. But I also didn't lie to them. They're going to hate me. They don't hate you. They're confused and hurt, but they don't hate you. They're angry at their father, as they should be. This is all your fault, she said again. And I realized something in that moment. Amy was never going to accept responsibility for this. She was never going to acknowledge that her choices, to hide the truth, to protect Jake's image, to prioritize his relationship with the kids over their right to know who he really was, had led to this moment. She was always going to blame me. Because blaming me was easier than accepting that she'd made a mistake. I hope you can forgive yourself someday, I said quietly. Because you did the best you could with an impossible situation. But you also made choices that hurt your kids. And you're going to have to live with that. I left her room before she could respond. Jack arrived the next evening. I'd already packed my bags. He found me in the guest room. You don't have to leave tonight, he said. You can stay. We can all talk this through. Amy doesn't want me here. And honestly, I don't want to be here anymore. I love my sister, but I can't watch her destroy her relationship with her kids because she's too proud to admit she was wrong. She's scared, Jack said. I know, but that doesn't make what she's doing okay. He nodded. You're right. And for what it's worth, thank you. For everything you did here. For taking care of the kids. For being there when everything fell apart. I didn't do anything special. You told them the truth. That's more than Amy has done in 10 years. I hugged him goodbye. Hugged the younger boys. Saved the twins for last. Remember what I said? I told them. Anytime you need me, I'm here. Thank you, Maya whispered, for not lying to us. I drove to my brother's house that night. 4 hours of highway, with nothing but my thoughts and the radio. Amy and I haven't spoken since I left. She sent one text. I need time. I responded. Take all the time you need. Jack calls me once a week with updates. The twins are in therapy now. They're doing okay. All things considered. They still refuse to see Jake. He's threatened court action, but his lawyer told him he doesn't have a case. Amy is healing slowly. Physically, she's getting better. Emotionally, she's still blaming everyone but herself. Jack says she talks about me sometimes. Complains about how I let the twins find out. How I encouraged them to cut off their father. How I turned the kids against her. None of it is true, but it's the story she needs to tell herself right now. I don't know if Amy and I will ever repair our relationship. I don't know if she'll ever admit that I wasn't the villain in this story. But I know I did the right thing. I was honest with those kids when their mother wouldn't be. I told them the truth when they deserved to hear it. I refused to lie to protect a narrative that was already crumbling. Maybe that makes me the bad guy in Amy's story. But in Maya and Ben's story, I'm the aunt who didn't abandon them, who didn't lie to them, who stayed and told them the truth even when it cost me my relationship with my sister. And I can live with that. Yesterday, I got a text from Maya. Just wanted to say thank you again for everything. Mom's still mad at you, but we're not. We know you were just trying to help. Love you. I cried when I read it, because at the end of the day, that's what mattered. Not Amy's anger, not Jake's threats, not the blame and the accusations, and the desperate need for a scapegoat. What mattered was that two kids who'd been lied to for their entire lives finally knew the truth. And they knew they had at least one adult in their lives who would be honest with them,
Who would stand by them?
who would refuse to lie just to keep the peace. I texted Maya back. Love you too. Always. That's where things stand now. Amy is healing. The twins are in therapy. Jake is still making empty threats. And I'm 4 hours away, living my life and waiting for the phone to ring if Maya or Ben ever need me. I don't regret anything I did. I don't regret being in the bathroom when they found those messages. I don't regret telling them why I was leaving. I don't regret refusing to lie to them just because it would have been easier for their mother. Some people might say I should have protected Amy's wishes, that I should have kept her secrets even after they were exposed, that I should have watched those teenagers more carefully. But those people don't understand what it's like to watch kids learn that everything they believed about their parent was a lie. Those people don't understand the importance of having at least one person who won't gaslight you, who won't minimize your pain, who won't ask you to pretend everything is fine when it's not. I was that person for Maya and Ben, and I'd do it again. Even if it means my sister never speaks to me again. Even if it means I'm the villain in her story. Because in the story that actually matters, the one where two kids learned the truth about their father and had to decide what to do with that information, I wasn't the villain at all. I was just the person who refused to lie. And sometimes, that's the most important role you can play.
Alright, I'm out, but the next story is already on the way.